Chosen ones, have you ever felt the quiet weight of being different? Have you noticed how, no matter how much you try to fit in, the world keeps reminding you that you are not like the rest? There are moments when your very existence feels like a question mark in the room, when people look at you and sense something they cannot explain. They may call it oddness, they may call it strangeness, but you know deep inside it is not strangeness. It is calling. It is divine separation. And tonight, as you hear these words, I want you to know something. You are not here by accident. You were led to this moment because heaven is speaking directly to you. There comes a time in the journey of every chosen soul when God begins to draw a line, when He begins to pull you away from everything that would try to diminish your light. This separation does not come as comfort. It often feels like confusion, like rejection, like the world suddenly shutting its doors in your face. But hear me, this is not punishment. It is preparation. God is separating you because He intends to elevate you. And if you have been sensing a holy disconnection in your life, a quiet severing from people, places, and patterns you once thought you needed, then this word is for you. Think back for a moment. Think about how many times you sat in a room and felt unseen, unheard, as though your presence was invisible. Think about how many times you poured love into relationships that gave you only betrayal in return. Think about how many nights you have cried, whispering, "Why me? Why do I have to go through this?" Chosen one, those tears were not wasted. They were not ignored. Heaven collected them, and heaven is answering you now. The truth is, you are too valuable to remain entangled with what does not serve your destiny. You are too precious to God to be buried in the soil of ordinary. That's why you've always felt different. That's why no matter how much you tried to silence that inner voice, it kept calling you back to yourself. This is the season where you will begin to understand why the path of your life has been so narrow, why the struggles seem to choose you while others walked freely without the same burdens. It is because elevation requires separation, and you, dear soul, are in that sacred process. I want you to pause and feel this for a moment. The loneliness you've endured, the rejection that seemed unfair, the opportunities that slipped away. It was not because you were unlucky or unworthy. It was because God was protecting you. The divine hand was shielding you from what would have destroyed you, though at the time you thought it was loss. Separation is often disguised as loss, but in truth, it is gain. It is heaven saying, I cannot allow you to settle there because I have something higher for you. Chosen ones, many of you have been misjudged. People see the exterior of your life and think you are weak, broken, too sensitive, too different. But what they fail to see is the anointing on your life, the quiet power that God has placed within you. You are not fragile, you are forged. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every season of silence has been chiseling you, shaping you, preparing you for the elevation that is coming. That's why you cannot compare your life to others. That's why you cannot measure your timeline by the timelines of your friends or coworkers. You are not walking an ordinary road, you are walking a prophetic road. And in this video, chosen ones, I promise you will begin to understand why you felt misunderstood since childhood, why relationships seem to fall apart, why doors closed at the very moment you thought you were ready to walk through them. You will see that God's separation is not cruelty, it is strategy. Heaven has been silent, yes, but silence is never absence. The divine silence has been your cocoon, and what emerges from that cocoon will astonish even you. Have you noticed how certain people are suddenly drifting away from your life? Friends who once called you every day now barely speak. Circles you once felt comfortable in now feel suffocating. Activities that once thrilled you now feel empty. This is no accident. This is separation. This is God clearing the stage of your life, because He is about to introduce a new act, a new chapter, one that requires the presence of only those aligned with your elevation. The ancient prophets spoke of this. When God called Abraham, He told him to leave his homeland, his Father's house, and everything familiar. Why? Because elevation requires separation. When God raised up Moses, he first separated him into the wilderness. Why? Because transformation is birthed in solitude. When Jesus was preparing for his mission, he went into the desert for 40 days, separated from the noise of the world, so that the Spirit could strengthen him. Why should your story be any different? If you are truly chosen, then you must walk the path of separation before you can carry the mantle of elevation. So if you are listening now and your life feels like a wilderness, if you are wondering why you've been cut off from familiar places, let this word sink deep. It is not because you are forsaken. It is because you are chosen. God isolates before he elevates. He removes before he restores. He separates before he multiplies. And here is the mystery. The very rejection you feared was actually protection. The very silence you thought was abandonment was actually God whispering in ways you couldn't yet hear. The very loneliness that threatened to crush you was in fact the sacred soil in which your strength was planted. Chosen one, your life has been divinely orchestrated. Every closed door, every lost friend, every delayed opportunity has been a stepping stone toward the place where God is lifting you. You may not see the full picture yet, but trust me, heaven does. And heaven does not make mistakes. You are not a mistake. You are a miracle in motion. The world may not recognize it yet, but your spirit has already felt the shift. That's why you're here, listening now. That's why your heart is pounding a little faster, because something in you knows this is not just another video, this is confirmation. So lean in, chosen one. Do not turn away. Do not let the doubts silence this truth. You were set apart for this very moment. God is separating you not to punish, but to promote, not to abandon, but to anoint, not to hurt, but to heal. And in the next few moments together, we will walk through the mystery of separation and the promise of elevation. Chosen ones, now that your spirit has awakened to the truth of separation, let us dive deeper into the hidden reality of your struggle. Because before elevation ever arrives, there is always a season of breaking. And for you, this breaking has often come wrapped in silence, in loneliness, in misunderstanding. It has not been a gentle path, has it? It has been sharp, piercing, almost unbearable at times. But hear me, there is a reason behind it all, a divine design that cannot be seen with natural eyes. Many of you have walked through life carrying invisible battles. On the outside, you look strong, composed, resilient. People see your smile and assume all is well, but they do not know the nights you wrestled with tears that would not stop. They do not know the ache of giving everything to people who could not see your worth. They do not know the confusion of watching others succeed with ease, while your path felt barricaded by unseen walls. And in those moments, you questioned yourself, didn't you? You wondered if perhaps something was wrong with you, if perhaps you were cursed, if perhaps God had forgotten. But chosen one, the truth is, what you were experiencing was the weight of separation. The world cannot understand what heaven is doing within you, so it will mislabel it. They will call you too sensitive, too emotional, too different. They will laugh at your dreams, belittle your visions, mock your faith. And yet deep inside, something in you has always known, you are not like them. You are set apart. You are marked. This is why your struggle has been heavier than most. You see, ordinary lives attract ordinary battles, but chosen lives attract extraordinary resistance. The enemy has seen the mantle on your life, and he has tried from the very beginning to crush you before you could rise. That is why rejection followed you like a shadow in childhood. That is why betrayal cut you so deeply in adulthood. That is why even now you often feel the weight of unseen warfare pressing against your soul. Because if he can convince you that your struggle is meaningless, he can rob you of your destiny. But the hidden truth, the one the enemy never wanted you to uncover, is that every trial was evidence of your calling. The very fact that you were fought so hard is proof that you are destined to rise so high. Do you remember Joseph? His brothers did not hate him because he was ordinary. They hated him because he carried a dream, a prophetic vision of elevation. Do you remember David? Goliath did not come against him because David was weak, but because David was anointed. Your enemies, your struggles, your betrayals, they have all been confirmation that you are carrying something sacred, something powerful, something the world has yet to see. But oh, how heavy it feels in the moment. Let us be honest, chosen ones. There were nights when the silence of God felt unbearable, when your prayers seemed to bounce off the ceiling. There were mornings when you woke up and wished you could just disappear because the weight of your trials felt too much for one soul to carry. There were times when the betrayal of those you trusted cut so deep that you swore you would never open your heart again, and yet, here you are, still standing, still breathing, still chosen. Do you see the mystery in that? If you were truly weak, you would have broken long ago. If you were truly ordinary, the trials would have destroyed you. But the fact that you survived is the evidence of divine protection. God never promised you an easy road, but He did promise you that no weapon formed against you would prosper. And though the weapons came, and oh how they came, they did not prosper. You may be scarred, yes, but you are not destroyed. You may be weary, yes, but you are not abandoned. Chosen ones, hear this. Your struggle is not a curse. It is a refining fire. It is the wilderness that prepares you for the promised land. It is the pruning that prepares you to bear fruit. And if it has felt as though everything in your life is being stripped away, it is because God is removing what cannot go with you into your elevation. Think of Moses, raised in Pharaoh's palace, yet separated from it, cast into the wilderness before God could use him to deliver Israel. Think of Elijah, who had to hide by the brook, fed only by ravens before he could call down fire from heaven. Think of Jesus, who was led into the desert for 40 days, fasting, praying, resisting temptation before his ministry began. Every chosen one in history has faced a season of hidden struggle, of divine separation, before stepping into destiny. So why should you, child of God, expect it to be any different? Yes, the struggle is real. Yes, the pain is deep. Yes, the rejection cuts. But woven into all of it is the fingerprint of God, pulling you away from what cannot hold your destiny, pressing you into a place where only His voice can guide you. And though you may not see it yet, this is your advantage. Others may seem to flourish quickly, but they wither just as fast because their roots are shallow. You, on the other hand, are being rooted deep. Your roots are stretching far beneath the soil because the tree you are becoming will be tall, unshakable, and unbreakable. This is why people misunderstood you. They saw only the struggle but not the destiny. They saw only the rejection but not the protection. They saw only the breaking but not the shaping. And while they dismissed you, heaven was watching you. Heaven was shaping you. Heaven was whispering, "Hold on, because what is coming will make sense of it all." Chosen ones, I know there are scars you carry that few understand. I know there are battles you fought in silence, wounds you never told anyone about. But I also know this: nothing has been wasted. Not one tear, not one heartbreak, not one lonely night has been wasted. Everything has been preparation. Everything has been divine strategy. You may feel like you've been wandering in circles, like your life has been stuck in delays. But remember the Israelites. For 40 years, they walked in the wilderness, and yet every step was guided. Every trial was training. Every season was shaping them for the promised land. And though you may feel delayed, you are not denied. Your wilderness is not forever. Your separation is not eternal. It is only for a season, and that season is the doorway to your elevation. So do not despise the struggle, chosen ones. Do not curse the loneliness. Do not resent the silence, for these are not signs of abandonment, but signs of intimacy. God trusts you enough to separate you. God loves you enough to refine you. God values you enough to allow you to endure the breaking, because only vessels that have been broken can carry the oil of anointing. And that is who you are becoming, a vessel of oil, a carrier of light, a living testimony of divine elevation. Chosen ones, now that we have opened the veil on your struggle and separation, let us walk into the revelation. For there are signs that mark your path, lessons that carry the fingerprints of heaven, and messages hidden in your journey that prove without question God is separating you to elevate you. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is prophecy unfolding in your very life. The first sign that God is separating you is the sudden disconnection from people and places that once defined you. Have you noticed how friendships that once felt inseparable now feel shallow? How rooms you once laughed in now feel heavy with emptiness? How invitations that used to excite you now stir nothing inside? This is no ordinary shift. This is God pulling you away from what cannot nourish your destiny. Do not mourn the loss of those circles, chosen one. Understand the truth. They cannot follow you into the place God is taking you, not because they are evil, but because they are not assigned to the next chapter of your life. Remember when God called Abraham, he told him plainly, "Leave your father's house, your land, your relatives, and go to the place I will show you." That separation was painful, but it was also the beginning of promise. The second sign is the inner stirring, the restlessness you cannot explain. You try to settle where you are. Something in your spirit says, this is not it. You try to convince yourself that the ordinary is enough, but there is a holy dissatisfaction rising in you. That restlessness is not weakness, it is guidance. It is God whispering, "Do not plant yourself where I have not called you." It is the Spirit tugging at your soul, refusing to let you die in mediocrity. Think of the eagle. When her young grow too comfortable in the nest, she stirs it, removes the softness, pushes them toward the sky. Why? Because she knows they were not born to remain in the safety of straw. They were born to fly. So too has God been stirring your nest, making what was once comfortable feel unbearable, because you were not born to settle. You were born to soar. The third sign is the increase of opposition and misunderstanding. Yes, you heard that right. The attacks are not evidence that you are failing, but that you are rising. When David was anointed king, he faced Goliath soon after. When Joseph received his dream, he faced the pit and the prison before the palace. When Jesus stepped into ministry, the Pharisees rose against him at every turn. Opposition is proof of assignment. The enemy does not waste energy fighting what poses no threat. So if you have found yourself in battles you never asked for, if you have been the target of jealousy, slander, betrayal, it is not because you are cursed, but because you are chosen, and your elevation is near. But revelation is not complete without lesson, chosen ones. What then is heaven teaching you through this season of separation? First, God is teaching you trust. Trust not in people, not in circumstances, not in what you can see, but in Him alone. For when everyone else walks away and the noise of the world fades, only His voice remains. And it is there, in the stillness, that you learn the sacred truth. He is enough. He always was, and He always will be. Second, God is teaching you discernment. In your elevation, not everyone who smiles will be a friend, and not every door that opens will be from God. So now, in your wilderness, He is sharpening your spirit, training your ear to recognize His whisper, training your eyes to distinguish light from shadow. Every betrayal you endured was a lesson in discernment. Every rejection you survived was a sharpening of sight. And though it hurt, it has equipped you to walk wisely in the next season. Third, God is teaching you surrender. Chosen ones, let us be honest. Sometimes we held too tightly to what was familiar, even when it was toxic. We begged God to bless what He was trying to remove. We cried over doors He Himself had closed, and yet through the pain, He has been teaching us to let go, to release what cannot remain, to open our hands so He can place in them something greater. Surrender is not weakness. Surrender is alignment. And the ones who truly elevate are the ones who learn to say, "Not my will, but yours, Lord." And finally, God is teaching you identity. For too long, the voices of others tried to define you. They told you who you were, who you weren't, what you could or could not become. And perhaps for a time you believed them, but separation silences those voices, leaving you face to face with the one who created you. And in that silence, he whispers, "You are mine, you are chosen, you are loved, you are destined." It is in separation that you remember who you really are, not what the world calls you, but what heaven has named you. Chosen ones, do you see now? Every sign, every lesson, every message points to the same revelation. God is separating you not to punish, but to elevate. He is removing the counterfeit so he can release the authentic. He is shutting the wrong doors so he can open the right ones. He is stripping away the temporary so he can crown you with the eternal. But here is the mystery. Elevation is not always sudden. It often comes like the dawn, gradually, silently, until one day you look around and realize you are no longer in the same place. Do not despise small beginnings. Do not curse the slow unfolding. For even now, while you wonder if anything is changing, heaven is aligning circumstances, shifting atmospheres, preparing opportunities. And when the time is right, when the preparation is complete, the elevation will not be delayed for even one moment. So hold fast, chosen one. If you have seen the signs, if you have felt the lessons, then know this: you are closer than you think. The season of separation is not forever. It is the necessary passage into the season of elevation. You are being called higher, and nothing, no demon, no betrayal, no delay can stop what God has ordained. Chosen ones, now hear this with every fiber of your being: you have not suffered in vain. Every lonely night, every unanswered prayer, every door that closed in your face, it was all pointing you here to this moment of awakening. The separation has been painful, yes, but it has also been sacred. It has been the proving ground of your spirit. It has been the holy furnace where your faith was purified like gold. And now heaven is declaring over you, rise, for your elevation is at hand. Lift your head, chosen one. You have carried shame like a cloak, believing the lies that you were abandoned, that you were forgotten, that you were unloved. But God says to you tonight, I have never left you. I have never forsaken you. Even in the silence, I was there. Even in the shadows, my hand was upon you. Even in the breaking, my spirit was carrying you. Do not mistake the silence of God for the absence of God. His silence has been your sanctuary. His stillness has been your shield. And now he speaks with thunder. You are mine, and I am lifting you higher. Chosen ones, understand the weight of this calling. You were not chosen for comfort. You were not chosen for ease. You were chosen for impact. You were chosen for transformation. You were chosen to carry light into dark places, to be a living prophecy in a world drowning in despair. That is why your road has been narrow. That is why your trials have been fierce. That is why your heart has been broken again and again, because God was shaping a vessel strong enough to carry his glory. Think of Joseph again. Betrayed by brothers, sold into slavery, cast into prison, forgotten by men. But when the appointed time came, Pharaoh lifted him from the dungeon to the palace in a single day. Do you see the pattern? The longer the separation, the greater the elevation. Joseph's prison was the birthplace of his palace. And so too will your suffering be the soil of your destiny. Think of David, overlooked by his own father, left in the fields with sheep while his brothers stood tall before the prophet. But God said, man looks at the outward appearance, but I look at the heart. And in one moment, the boy who was rejected became the man anointed as king. Chosen one, your rejection has been your redirection. The very people who dismissed you will one day witness your elevation. And think of Jesus, the cornerstone rejected by the builders. They mocked him, pierced him, nailed him to a cross. And yet it was through that very cross that salvation entered the world. Rejection is not the end. It is the doorway to resurrection. And if Christ himself endured rejection for the sake of glory, how much more will you, as his chosen, walk the same path of pain into power? Let this truth burn in your spirit. You are not behind, you are not forgotten, you are not overlooked. You are being positioned, you are being elevated. Every delay has been divine timing. Every detour has been divine redirection. Every breaking has been divine building. And now heaven is aligning the stage for your unveiling. Chosen ones, rise up in your identity. You are a child of the Most High. You are the head and not the tail. You are above and not beneath. You are a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a light that cannot be hidden. No curse can hold you. No weapon can prosper against you. No lie can erase what God has declared over you. Stand tall, even with your scars, for those scars are the evidence of survival, the proof of your calling, the testimony of your strength. I declare over you, the very pain that tried to destroy you will become the platform of your testimony. The very chains that tried to bind you will be the evidence of your freedom. The very valley that tried to swallow you will be the stage of your rising. What was meant for evil, God is turning for good. What was meant to break you, God is using to build you. What was meant to bury you, God is transforming into the soil of your resurrection. Feel the power of this moment. This is not just another message, this is a divine decree. Heaven is announcing your shift. The silence is breaking, the separation is ending, the elevation is beginning. And when God elevates you, no man, no system, no demon in hell can pull you down. For when the hand of the Lord is upon you, who can oppose it? Chosen ones, I want you to breathe deeply right now. Feel the Spirit of God rising within you. Feel the chains of doubt falling off. Feel the cloak of shame slipping away. You are stepping into newness. You are stepping into alignment. You are stepping into the fullness of your calling. Your wilderness has ended, and your promised land awaits. You may not see it yet with your eyes, but your spirit already knows it. That's why something in you is leaping as these words wash over you. That's why your heart feels lighter, your vision clearer, your hope brighter, because the Spirit within you recognizes truth, and truth has found you tonight. You are chosen, you are separated, and now you are elevated. Lift your voice, even in your home, even in your car, even in the silence of your room, and declare it with me. I am chosen, I am called, I am protected, I am elevated. Speak it, believe it, embody it. For life and death are in the power of the tongue, and tonight you will speak life over your destiny. Scripture says in Isaiah 61, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." This is your call, chosen one. Arise from the ashes, shine in the darkness. Stand tall in the truth of who you are. You are no longer the broken one, the forgotten one, the rejected one. You are the anointed one, the elevated one, the chosen one. So walk boldly into your tomorrow. Walk boldly into the doors God is opening. Walk boldly into the new season unfolding before you. And as you do, remember this: you did not survive by accident. You survived by assignment. You did not endure for nothing. You endured for everything. You endured because your story will be the light for someone else's darkness, the hope for someone else's despair, the proof that God is still moving in the lives of His chosen. Chosen ones, your time has come. Stand in it, own it, live it, for God has separated you, and now He elevates you. Chosen one, lean in closely. The very scars you tried to hide, the ones you thought disqualified you, they are not shame, they are proof. Proof that you survived what others did not. Proof that the fire did not consume you, the flood did not drown you, the betrayal did not break you. Every mark on your soul has become a map, a testimony of divine intervention. What once looked like weakness has now transformed into the sign of your consecration. Do you not see? Those who carry scars without bitterness carry the fragrance of heaven. God is saying, I allowed the wound so I could prove the healing. I permitted the breaking so I could reveal the mending. Your scars are not the end of your story. They are the evidence of resurrection. This is why you shine differently. This is why you cannot be compared. While others pretend to be whole, you stand as one who was broken and restored.